You're listening to The Barbell Life. On today's episode, we've got a double dose of podcast goodness. While he was coaching at the recent World Team Camp in Columbus, Ohio, Travis had the chance to sit down with two of the team members there, Brian Reisenauer and Alyssa Richie. Travis talked to them about everything from goals and atmosphere, to their training, to the journey that they've had in their weightlifting careers. Now, we're especially proud of Brian and the progress he's made since he's been a MASH Mafia team member pretty much since the beginning. And if you're interested in the programming that the MASH Mafia has been using, you can check out our program samplers. We've got Volume 1 and Volume 2, and each of these samplers contains a ton of programs in all sorts of sports, from weightlifting to powerlifting to functional fitness. And this is important. All of the proceeds from these samplers go to funding our non-profit weightlifting team. So thanks in advance for your support. Now, you can check those samplers out at www.mashelite.com/program sampler, and Volume 2 is over at www.mashelite.com/program sampler 2. Again, those addresses are mashelite.com/program sampler and mashelite.com/program sampler 2. Now, later in the show, we'll get to the interview that Travis had with Alyssa Richie, but right now, let's dive into Coach Mash's interview with Brian Reisenauer.
Hey guys, today we're here at the World Camp in Columbus, Ohio at the Brogue Center, and we've got three guys on the world team, two of which made it to the camp. One we have with you today, Brian Reisenauer, a 56-kilogram lifter. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you.
Have you ever been on before?
I haven't.
Oh, well, awesome.
First time.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad because, a lot of you guys haven't met Brian. You've read about, I've written a lot of articles and made comments about him, but he is our fastest growing lifter probably, as far as he went from bombing out to killing it, and now he's on a world team. So it's been a pretty quick rise to the top for you.
Yeah, it has. Actually, it's really exciting and surprising, to be honest. I knew I was strong, but my technique was quite terrible to begin with, and I thought that was going to be a long haul of development, but it's come along really nicely very quickly. So,
well, your main coach, Vin, has done a great job with you, and he's done a great job up there in Minnesota, developing a lot of you guys. So it's exciting to watch MASH Mafia in Minnesota take off, and you got three of you guys on a international team this year. So, but you're on the senior international team. That's the team to make, and it's exciting. But not only are you at this world camp on a world team, but you're also studying to be a clinical psychologist, and you already have your master's in forensic psychology. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, I think that's crazy because I know you as the weightlifter. You used to wrestle in college. You're funny. We hang out. And so the thoughts that you're going to be working with criminals is just insane. So tell me some of the things that you're going to be doing with I know this is the Barbell Life, and we're going to talk about him. He's a great lifter, and we're going to talk all about that. But I thought it'd be fun just to see behind the scenes that these guys are more than just guys who pick stuff up and put it down. And plus I'm curious about what will you be doing as a psychologist.
So once I get going, I would be doing forensic evaluations of criminals. So this can involve anything from checking things like competency to stand trial to see if they're capable to help with their own defense, to things like trying to figure out their criminal responsibility if they were at all capable of making clear and rational decisions during the crime. So whenever you hear something like an insanity plea come up or something like that, they try to establish how capable they were of being able to make that decision on their own, or whether there was a break in reality somehow due to some sort of severe mental illness.
And we were talking about the different levels of the psychology that you guys study. It sounds interesting, and I have to admit, after tonight talking to you more, I see there's definitely more science in psychology than I might have thought. Sometimes I give it a bad rap as far as it being so subjective and broad, but you brought a lot of cool stuff to to light tonight. So, but tell me, like, the forensic part. I have to, like, ask you about that. Like, will you be doing anything with the forensics too? Like, where you go to a crime scene and see what's happened?
Well, that can be a part of the whole aspect. The big part about forensics is trying to get as much information as possible from all aspects. That includes not only doing interviews with the criminal himself and doing all the psychological evaluations with him, but visiting family members, visiting where the crime took place, seeing all aspects of it to try and get a whole picture of where this person's mentality was at during the crime, but not only that, throughout their entire life, to try to establish a baseline of what their life was like.
Yeah, you talked about, what were we talking about? Core value or core, what was that?
Core beliefs.
Core beliefs.
Core beliefs, yeah.
Like where, if a parent has been rough on you like a lot as a kid. So tell us more about that. Like, how does that work?
So the core beliefs come from a type of therapy called the cognitive behavioral therapy. So core beliefs usually are established at a young age, and what they do is it is how somebody internalizes and believes their world exists, their perspective on the world. These core beliefs are something that they believe of themselves, they believe of others, how they see the world, and what they think of their future. And so these core beliefs get established, and then through that you can see how different mental health aspects can grow from them. So somebody who believes that they themselves are perhaps worthless or don't have a lot of value and sees the whole world as a scary or chaotic place as a young age will continue to develop that throughout their lifetime, and then will likely develop something like a depression or an anxiety disorder from this core belief that they have.
Obviously I am not a psychologist by any means, but I talk a lot about, paradigms, people's views of reality that have been shaped over time, whether it be their parents or coaches or friends. All of it comes together to make you believe, a certain thing about reality. And I've always thought that, like a view of reality is the most illogical thing ever, because there's, someone's view of reality is just something make believe. It's like it's something your brain has just perceived as reality, and the truth is, gosh, it's really hard to understand what the truth is until you let go of a lot of those things. Like if I believe that I'm only capable of making it to nationals, where does that even come from? Like why do I only think that? Why stop there? Why not say I can medal at nationals? And then once you say that, why not just say, why can't I make a world team? Look, think about this. 2 years ago, we were not even talking about a world team, and here we are. You're preparing for Anaheim to be in the 2017 World Championships, and in reality, it just, gosh, you were even saying a lot of people thought that a lot of your professors think that core the core belief can't be changed, but you disagree.
I do. I very much disagree with that. They believe, or at least through that same therapy and modality system, that core beliefs can't really be changed much. They can be modified, and thoughts can be changed to try and better adapt to the world as best as you can to have more productive behaviors and a productive life. But they believe that those can't be changed, and I don't like that aspect, because lots of experiences happen throughout your lifetime. And I don't believe that your perspective of the world is set by age like 5. I believe that all these changes can occur throughout a lifetime, especially things that are big events to you. Something that sticks out in your mind typically will change the way you view the world. It could be positive or negative. And I think that core beliefs that get set in at such a young age are not permanent. And so things like that can change. And to go back to the point where you're talking about me, we weren't talking about a world team 2 years ago, and that is all about like a perspective and not putting limits on, what you're doing, because they don't give you anything.
No, they don't. A limit gives you nothing.
It gives you nothing. I mean, a lot of people say stay based in reality, which I do believe is true, but
what is that?
Exactly.
Like reality that would not, if we would have said, okay, realistically, Brian, 2 years from now, we'll hopefully, win your weight class. Well, that wouldn't have been reality now, would it? Because you're on a world team.
Exactly. You can't predict the future that way. And so what you have to do is just try to establish just try to get better daily.
Right.
I think that's the most important thing. You go in with a goal on a daily basis.
Right.
I'm not a big proponent of long-term goals or even intermediate goals, because what they do is they set somebody up to either fail because they didn't reach it,
right,
or to limit them because they reached it maybe too soon or it was too easy.
You would have easily crushed whatever long-term goal we would have set. You would have crushed it.
Right. So setting up that kind of goal maybe could have acted as some sort of barrier, and I would have, maybe
no doubt,
had put it perhaps on a pedestal, or I would have reached it and then been like, well, okay, done.
Well, going back to that, the core belief on I just look at my own, childhood. There's always going to be an outlier to whatever anyone thinks is true. But I grew up in a family there was really only two of us that ever went to college, and our a belief system would be you go and be a nurse, or go and be a very safe job is what I'm trying to get at. Mm-hmm. Go be a police officer. If I'd have said I wanted to be an Olympian, they would have been like, come on, be realistic. If I'd have said I want to be president, they would have said be realistic. But luckily, like you said, later on in life, I started meeting different people. Around middle school, I met my best friend KJ, and we both came from very poor families, but early on we both would tell each other that we were capable of better things. Now he owns this $100 million company in Dallas, Texas. I've coached the best athletes in the entire world, so both of us have gone on to do some extraordinary things. And but if it had to do with between 1 and 5 years old, neither one of us would have done anything. We would have both just assumed that we would never lead very productive lives. We'd probably still be in the mountains, and we'd be working the Christmas trees,
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a tough time believing that. I mean, I understand. I can see where most people would kind of go along with status quo and believe whatever might have been said to them, but there's always going to be outliers. I think no matter where you look, someone always crushes what you think should happen. So
yeah, I absolutely agree, to be honest. And the outliers are the ones that, to be perfectly honest, are the ones that are the most frustrating, and the most fascinating all at the same time, which, to be honest, is why I find forensic work so interesting, because these are the rarities. When you watch TV and you see shows like Law and Order or whatever, and you see all these insanity pleas, and you see the schizophrenic who killed the family member or some random person or whatever it was, that's just not the case most of the time. 95% of schizophrenics don't kill anybody or harm anybody in any way. Most of the time they're afraid of everything that's happening to them.
What is exactly?
Schizophrenia is typically seen in two different ways. They can either have hallucinations or delusions. That's the main part that they diagnose them with. Hallucination is just something that you're seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, or smelling even.
That's so crazy.
That isn't there. Delusion is just a thought or belief that you believe that just isn't founded on any truth. Delusions of grandeur, perhaps. You think that you're much more important than you are. You think that you're King Arthur. delusions of persecution, where you think that somebody's out to get you. You always hear about that one, where they think the CIA is after them or something like that. And those types of things. And that's one aspect of schizophrenia. The other part can be negative symptoms, where it almost appears as if they don't move for hours on end. They will kind of develop a waxy sort of way about their body, where you can actually move them and set them into positions, and they'll stay there. That is much less common, and obviously you don't see that much in the forensic realm, because they're not really doing much. They're just doing that.
So they're not getting in trouble. They're just like...
And so those are the negative symptoms that sometimes you tend to see. But to what I was getting to, the outliers, the ones that are most fascinating and also the most frustrating, because, like I said, most of these people that suffer from this don't harm anybody. Right. Like I said, they're mostly afraid of what is happening to them. It's pretty scary to have some be 10 feet in front of you that really isn't there. And it's not there even, but it's still there. And that can be a scary concept. So the outliers, the criminal ones, are the ones that I find the most fascinating. And, obviously they're also the most frustrating, because these are people that are in a very broken state of reality. Right. And they can be hard to work with. So that's why the other information from everywhere else is very important, talking to friends, family members, stuff like that. And so trying to bring this back around to more of a weightlifting sense, I believe that the being present at the time of weightlifting, you have your daily goal is important, but every other aspect of training needs to also be considered in order to get the whole picture. If you just have the goal and you walk into that room, day after day and lift the weights, and that's great, you're getting most of it done, but there's tons of different aspects that you need to pull in to get the full picture and to try to excel. And I guess because of my perspective on that from psychology is how I like to believe how I rose to the top, is because I tried to pull in every single bit that I could that wasn't just lifting the weights up.
Oh, give some examples.
So
I want to get into anyway. Let's talk about this.
I tried to tie it back in. Maybe I didn't do it so eloquently. So different examples. Well, maybe I'll start from my beginning, which was me deciding to just go and do a weightlifting competition after being in CrossFit for a while.
Yeah.
So
you wrestled.
First I wrestled. I was a wrestler.
Really good wrestler.
I was. Or at least I like to think so. I wrestled all the way through high school. Wrestled in college. Tried out for the Olympics in 2012, which was a crash and burn effort, but it was a nice retirement party.
Still cool, yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice retirement party, and I ended. And for a little while, I took my break from any sports. And to be 100% honest, I had a girlfriend who said, if you don't get off the couch and do something, I'm basically going to yell your head off. And so
you got off the couch.
In comes in CrossFit. Yep. So I did CrossFit for about a year, and I like to think also pretty good at that.
Did you compete at CrossFit?
I did. I did some competitions, and actually my box owner that I went to noticed my frustration with it.
Right.
Because I had a great engine. I could move. My body weight movements were fantastic. Even my lifting at that time, I could lift a decent amount for my size.
What did you weigh then?
What did I weigh then? I bet I was about $120.
Big man on campus.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
120 pounds about because I had leaned out from doing all the CrossFit.
Were you just shredded?
I was. I was quite thin then. I mean, not thin. I still have my muscle, but not much fat.
Well, how tall are you?
5'2".
So 5'2", 120. I mean, you pack on a lot of muscle. I mean, you're not a skinny guy. You're strong.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, but then like I said, she knows I was getting frustrated. Almost every CrossFit competition has a max lift. regardless of which one it is, I was 120 pounds, and I could not compete against the 220-pound behemoth standing next to me.
That sucks. Yeah, that's the only thing about CrossFit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was always a little frustrating. The rower was not exactly my friend.
Because you're not tall.
Yeah. That was kind of a bummer. And wall balls kind of hurt because I had 20 pounds landing on my face quite often.
Right.
My quarter of my body or a fifth of my body weight landing on my face.
Yeah.
So after a little while, I got a little frustrated, and she noticed that, and she said, "Well, why don't you go try a weightlifting competition? They have weight classes, which I know you love, and you lift a lot for your size." And I said, "Well, what the heck? I'll do it." So I drove down to a tiny, tiny city in Minnesota for my first weightlifting competition. And
what city?
It was Rochester, Minnesota.
Yeah, it's not that tiny.
Well, it does have the Mayo Clinic.
But other than in the country, yeah.
Yep. Other than that, I don't know what else is going on. Not much, I don't think. But
yeah,
I had been there a few times for actually wrestling competitions in college, so I kind of knew where I was going. And so I went there, and I actually, like, now I'm gonna contradict myself. I had a goal. I looked up online the numbers for qualifying for the American Open.
Right.
And so my goal was, well, let's see if we can do that, if I can make that. And I got the exact number I needed.
Sweet.
So
in your first weightlifting meet?
In my first weightlifting meet.
That's pretty impressive, number one. Go ahead.
The funny thing is that I really wish I had taken pictures. I was in my old wrestling singlet. That's the one I had.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in my 0 millimeter drop CrossFit shoes.
Oh, wow. Total rookie.
Total rookie. And I was by myself.
Did you meet Vin at that meet?
I did not meet him, but he was there.
Right.
And he saw me.
Right.
So I didn't meet him. I didn't know what I was doing. I had the best plan that I could think of was they're going to call my name. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to lift whatever's on the bar. And then I'm going to walk back behind until they call my name again. And so that was the plan. And that's how I did it. And so somehow, by some miracle, I made
amazing. I mean, I know so many people that work so hard to make the American Open.
And so have I. And I have coached athletes, and I've gotten to see tons of athletes that worked so hard to qualify for that American Open. And I am so much more proud of them than I ever have been of me, because that I almost feel like that was not what I did was not deserved.
Well,
because I see tons of people put in that good hard work and it is well deserved by them. And for me to walk up and to just do it is almost a little diminishing of the real effort that it is. And so, looking back now, that's how I kind of feel. At the time, I was 100% elated. It was the greatest thing ever.
That was cool.
I'm like, weightlifting's awesome. I love it.
How did you get with Vin?
So that's the next story. American Open time rolls around. I was still doing some CrossFit, but I did sort of shift my attention towards more weightlifting. And the American Open rolled around. This one was in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah.
So I flew out to D.C., and it was the same plan. Same plan as always. I was by myself, and when they call my name, I'm going up.
Right.
So I did get some weightlifting shoes, but I still had the weightlifting singlet. So that was the plan. So I weighed in. I walked into the back room, and it is filled with athletes and their coaches. And, man, did I feel like the biggest idiot on the planet, to be honest. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything.
Then, yeah.
Yep. There were people at platforms. They were warming up. People were counting stuff that I didn't even understand. And I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. So I basically stood in the corner. And I just waited until it was time for me to lift.
So you didn't warm up?
I wasn't warming up. Vin, this is when Vin comes in. Vin came over to me because he had seen me at the previous competition. Yeah. He said, "Hey, I remember you from that competition. Do you need help?" And I pretty much yelled at him, yes. I need so much help. It's beyond belief.
Oh man, I wish you were here. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. And so
I need so much help.
I did. And you could see it in my eyes. I'm just standing there just wide-eyed watching all these great lifters.
We've all seen it, yeah.
Watching all these great lifters like being at home, doing what they do, and I'm standing there just I have no idea what's happening.
If you don't have a coach, get a coach.
Get one.
Yeah.
Yes, it's by far the best investment you will ever make in your weightlifting career, by far. And so he comes over and he says that, and I said yes, and he's like, all right, I'll help you, warm up and count your attempts and all this stuff. And he asked me, what my numbers were and all this, and I went and I actually took 5th, thanks to him, because there's no way that would have happened any other way, I'm pretty sure. So I ended up taking 5th that year, and I was done with CrossFit. That was it. I'm doing weightlifting. This is it.
Yeah.
And so that was actually the first time I met you too.
Yeah.
He introduced me to you afterwards.
That's when I was with Muscle Driver still. I was doing both, Muscle Driver and my own National Heavy team. Yeah, I remember that was crazy American Open. It was actually a lot of fun. Yeah, I remember totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then lucky me, Vin just basically said, "You're ours now." And thank God, because I don't know if he hadn't come up to me, I'm not sure if anybody would. And God knows where I'd be right now. It's really.
Let me make a point. Like, if you're a coach, you're probably not listening to me because you think you're so good, but like you should be, because what I'm about to tell you is gold. If you're a coach, just be nice. If you're just nice, you'll get a world team member. By then, seeing that a young boy needed some help, just. Now we have a world team member. And there's so many coaches out there, man. I see them, and they wouldn't do it. They're just not nice. I don't know who they think they are, but I know Vin and I know Don and I know I am in this to help people. I don't care about trying to make a name. I already have my own. I'm trying to. It just feels so good to help a guy like Brian go from the guy standing in the corner to on a world team. That's the coolest story I've ever heard of, and it's just because Vin was a nice dude, and we all know Vin is the nicest.
He is.
So that's this coolest weightlifting story I've ever heard. And if there's a weightlifting coach listening, I pray to God that they'll take note and be like, maybe if I'm just nice, I'll get a world team member. But just being nice. And if Vin hadn't done that, there's a chance that that experience would have gone terrible, and you'd been back to CrossFit or back on the couch. Your girlfriend left you, and you're miserable, and now you're having to diagnose yourself.
Yeah. No, to be perfectly honest, that is a very real reality.
That would have been your core. Yeah,
that my new core belief would have been that I'm terrible at weightlifting.
Yeah, but it would have been a false. It would have been a fallacy. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I got really lucky that that happened, but now I guess I got a new core belief, and it's one of my favorites, is that the weightlifting world that I live in now is a place of people who want to help. Right.
And I love that, because I had some great supporters when I wrestled. There were a lot of great people, but everybody was out to beat everyone. Everybody wanted, to be honest, everybody wanted me to lose, except for my team. And to be 100% honest, I wanted everybody else to lose.
Except you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that in the weightlifting world. I feel like everybody wants everybody to succeed.
For the most part, we all
there are the bad apples every once in a while who, kick you out of a gym or do something like that. But, for the most part, what I've experienced is great. And I'm so glad that that's happened, because I'm not sure if I could have handled any amount of years of the wrestling attitude that I lived in.
Yeah, we just had dinner with Wes Kitts, and I was talking about how awesome I love, his coach, Dave Spitz. And, there's aspects of the weightlifting world that are beautiful. There's a few, like you said, bad apples, but all in all, I would like to believe that we're all pulling for Team USA and not Team MASH or Team Cal Strength. We're all like trying to build a strong team that can go out and compete against all the other teams in the world. And it's cool to see, Brian, you go from that dude standing in the corner to one of the top lifters in the country, and the guy that will be in Anaheim battling it out with all those other countries and trying to bring home some medals. So
Yeah.
hey, it's been a good show, but will you? I know you have your own website, your own thing going on. And really, that's why you're up here, because you called and you wanted me to give you some advice, and so I'm trying to help you with your business too. But tell everyone where they can find out more about what you got going on.
Yeah, my website is www.kilo4, it's F-O-R, kilosc.com. And you can also find us on Instagram at kilo4kilosc as well. He's
not selling drugs.
I am not. It's my own programming and online coaching business as well. If you guys need anything for nutrition planning for macros or programming for competitions to just getting started, I got it all for you.
What about, could you give them, I know you're not, I don't know how that would work legally, but can you give them like advice on sports psychology? I mean, can you at least help someone along those lines?
Absolutely. I most certainly can. There's nothing stopping me from that at all.
Sweet.
So there's no rules saying I can definitely help in that aspect in any way.
I believe as a coach, that is the biggest aspect that a lot of you guys are missing out there, is like getting someone to actually help you get better on the platform. I mean, no one wants to hear that, but it's the truth. Yeah. I see people that are strong enough, fast enough, mobile enough, but they don't have it up here. And that is the one place they're lacking. But I don't know if it's their machoism or their pride won't allow them to go out and get some help. But I tell you what, I've seen you guys. I mean, I'm at all the meets, and I'll promise you, most of you are not on a world team like Brian because of your brain, not because of your body. So.
Yeah, mentality is a huge part. And actually, since you brought that up, I'm also writing that ebook that I mentioned to you earlier on sports psychology in relation to weightlifting, which will be coming out pretty soon.
I think it's going to be huge, because not only will it be from a guy with a sports psychology background, but it's going to be a boss athlete too. It's like the best of both worlds. Normally you got like the psychologist and you're like, what do you know about me? You're not an athlete. You're just some bookworm. You're a bookworm that's also an athlete. So. Anyway, hey, thanks for being on the show, brother.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right.
Well, stick around, because we've got more to come on this podcast as Travis talks to Alyssa Richie. But let me first take this opportunity to thank the sponsors of Team MASH Mafia: Nike Weightlifting, Intech Strength, Hack Nutrition, Harbinger, MG12, and BiPro Protein. And now back to the interviews. Here's Coach Travis Mash as he talks with Alyssa Richie.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Barbell Life, and we're at the World Team Camp, and today we have the toughest little girl on the team. A little girl. I don't know if I should say that.
That's okay. Yeah, I get it all the time, but I'm okay. I am little and tiny.
You are little. So welcome to the show, Alyssa Richie.
Hi.
Shout out to Juggernaut Training Systems too. That's their athlete that I'm borrowing for the next 30 minutes. And just shout out to Max Ada, your awesome coach.
Yeah, he gets to see me and talk to me enough. I think sometimes I irritate him.
Well, I'm glad you're here with us.
That's false, but.
Well, today was number one overall. It was an amazing day of practice.
Yeah.
And a lot of fun. It was cool how, it seems like, because my past experiences with Team USA's, this one seems to be much closer, and the environment in the training hall was awesome today. A lot of fun, positive vibes.
Yeah.
Lots of PRs, lots of big lifts. But today we're talking about you, and we're talking about your journey with the barbell. You, as far as I know, you started in CrossFit, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
I started 4 years in CrossFit. September 2012 I started, and I ended up being just pretty talented right away, and I surprised myself. Made it to regionals within 4 months. I qualified in the open.
No way.
Yeah, so it was just...
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it came kind of natural, which was cool. So then I competed at regionals within the first 8 months, and did really good. Got 12th place and shocked a lot of people. Like Rory McCurran was like, I'm pretty sure I thought you cheated to get here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did not. And then I like did really good in Jackie, and then did one I think second or one. Actually, I won the muscle up event, the muscle up burpee one, and everybody like kind of started knowing me as the little, really good jacked CrossFitter. I wasn't that jacked back then.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to hate you. Here's why: it's because you just said in a few months you made regionals, which is some people's lifetime goal, and then kind of by accident you've made a world team.
Yeah, it started with like the switch, like we talked about, and the reason I actually started weightlifting was because I wanted to give my body a break from CrossFit and my mind a break. So I was like, I'm going to take the year off. Then I called Max. Actually, I called Chad up from Juggernaut, and I was like, hey, I want to take the year off CrossFit. I don't want to do it anymore until like another year out. And he's like, oh, cool, yeah. Why don't you do weightlifting? And I was like, dude, I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe I'll try. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you could cut weight into the 48 class and be real good at weightlifting. And I was like,
yeah, smart man.
Yeah, so that's when everything kind of turned around. Next 2 days, I called Nick Shaw from RP, Renaissance Periodization, and he started me on the diet, and we cut for the first American Open. And
how'd you do in your first one?
I got second overall.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
I don't know. You're going to get a lot of fans and then a lot of hate.
Yeah, I know. And it's not my fault. God just gave me good gifts.
I mean, you have great genetics. I mean, if they hate anyone, hate your parents because you're bad.
Yeah.
So you went second at the American Open, and then what year was that?
That was last year, 2016. So I've only been weightlifting for a full year now.
Oh my God! And she's on a world team.
Yeah.
She's on a world team. All right. So fast forward. When did you make? I know you just did the Pan Ams and did really well.
Yeah.
And so what was your next meet? The Nationals, I guess, or what?
It was Nationals was first, and then Pan Ams, and then it's Worlds. So Nationals, I took 3 golds. I got gold in, obviously, all of my.
In your second national meet, you swept gold.
First actual national meet as a weightlifter. I've done nationals and American Open, but like as a CrossFitter. Right. So like nationals as a weightlifter, as a 48, so 15 pounds less than I actually was as a CrossFitter.
Right.
I swept gold, which was really cool. I mean, it was a battle. If you were there.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, it was good, though.
Yeah, the snatch was a battle, but it was so much fun. And the girls are so talented, so it definitely wasn't easy, I would say. It's a lot of hard work that people don't see, but everyone likes to just see the medals and the glory on the stage, which is tough to.
So would you say that you're a weightlifter now, or do you still have the heart of a CrossFitter? Well, obviously, I saw you do the handstand race with Kevin Simons today. I was surprised. I mean, he was a gymnast, so I kind of thought he might win, and so I was wrong. You smoked him, but so where's your heart now?
Gosh, like realistically, last year when I switched, I wasn't sure I was gonna like weightlifting.
Right.
And I kind of looked at it and I was like, I don't know. I don't see me like lifting every day in the gym, heavy weights and like squatting and clean and jerking and snatching. I don't see that being like, oh yeah, fun.
Right.
And I was like, right after the American Open, probably in around January, was when I was like, whoa, I actually love this. And I was,
sweet.
Yeah, it just didn't, I don't know, something just about it. Like I've never felt super like at my peak of my strength. Like I've never felt like super strong or like super strong, I guess you could say. So to feel this strong and to be this small is cool. Pretty incredible. It's like, it gives you another sort of sexy confidence that like a lot of women like really want, and it's really hard to get there, but like it's so worth it when you get there. Yeah. And you feel it.
I watched you clean and jerk 222 pounds, 101 kilos today. And I was just thinking back to high school and watching like, guys at my school like struggling to clean the 225. big guys on the football team, and here this little girl who weighs 106 pounds just clean and jerked it. And all of a sudden, just reality just hit me. I'm like, oh my God, how special the things that I was getting to witness, really was. And sometimes I think we all, we're around each other so much, and we start taking for granted what we're seeing. And so if you really think back, to me, when I think back to playing football or playing at at Appalachian State, and I think of the weights that were lifted and how like you guys just, man, you would have been one of the strongest dudes on our football team in college. There's receivers, starting wide receivers that couldn't clean and jerk 225 pounds.
That's hilarious.
I know. And you're 106 pounds.
Funny. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
So maybe you should try it for the NFL.
Not sorry. I already did, and I already made it. I'm actually the quarterback for just kidding.
So tell me, what does training look like now with Max's program, and how many days do you train? I know you're doing 2 a day. So what's it look like a typical day?
So I just this month I started on a new training regimen. I do doubles on Mondays and Fridays, and it's good because I'm actually, the less I train, the better I am. So 5 days a week for me, 2 hours a day in and out of the gym is perfect.
Right.
I get 2 rest days. My body heals up for the heavy days, and I can hit good weights. So right now we're trying something different. So we're doing Monday double days and Friday double days, and I do like them. It's very challenging because I work right after. So standing up and serving people coffee, I'm like falling asleep, and I have like espresso in my system. I'm like, ugh. So pretty tired, but worth it.
So what do? You serve sell coffee?
Yeah, so I work at a coffee shop in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I freaking love it. It's so much fun. I like interacting with the people.
Yeah,
so,
talking. Everyone's high on caffeine.
Yeah.
Everyone's in a good mood this morning.
I know, and they're coming to see me to get caffeine, so they're like pumped, like good morning, and I'm like serving them a drug, so they're excited.
A legal drug.
A legal drug, absolutely. Like it has to be.
So what's the goal then? Is it 2020? Like most of the dudes on this team. I mean, like what's your future?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's silly to say that if you are at this level and you don't want to make it to the Olympics, you probably shouldn't be here.
Right.
Because honestly, everybody wants to make it to the Olympics, no matter what sport you're in, no matter like at the elite level, you're striving to be the best.
Right.
You're not just like dilly-dallying around and just looking at like your training like, oh, this is okay, this is great, I'll do good at nationals. No, I want to like look at the long term. I want to make it to the Olympics. Like as a little girl, that was always a dream for me in gymnastics. So to be able to pursue that dream in weightlifting is just awesome. Exactly.
So, I have a daughter, and so seeing strong girls is exciting to me because I hate what society tries to tell women that they should look like, should do. And so, what message do you have, for the women, the little girls out there now who are growing up and watching TV? What do you want to say to them?
I feel like when I was little, I used to walk past the grocery store magazines and look at those girls on the magazines, and I was always like, God, they're so pretty. But then as I started getting older and I started lifting more weights when I was like 15, I started getting quads and biceps and hamstrings.
Yeah.
And I remember the guys just being like, wow, like you look great. Like nothing like weird, but just you look beautiful.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, wow, really? But like, I think it's all, I would never picture myself as a small, little, scrawny girl with no thighs, no abs, no biceps, because I like the way I feel and the way I look. It's more of the way I feel, less of the way I look. I mean, skinny or strong, like I'm beautiful, regardless. I don't care what people think. Yeah. I'm not gonna let people's opinions direct my life and my choices and my thoughts. I like being strong because I like the way it makes me feel. And I like how walking into the gym and cleaning 101 today was just like, whoa, I did that. Like,
yeah,
that's my hard work shining through.
Darn straight. I would like for every girl to really know that any dude that I know who is like a confident man and athletic man, a strong, supportive male,
Yep.
love strong, muscular, athletic, hardworking women. And the only guys that I know who like the women that society likes to say are the women are have low self-esteem.
Yeah, weak-minded, low style. Yeah, and I see that too. Like, that's the thing. Like, my boyfriend, he's so... I can snatch almost as much as he can. And he's a nurse in the surgical ICU. He has a different career path. He has a different mindset.
Right.
But he loves me so much and is so proud of me. And any guy that can sit there and just love you for being just strong, confident, and beautiful, as long as you feel good about yourself, nothing else matters.
Right.
So,
when I watch my wife, she's more into powerlifting. But when I see her do something, a 370-pound deadlift, nothing is more exciting to me just to see my beautiful wife, who is a mother of two, and out there lifting these big heavy weights.
Yeah, that's rad.
It's sexy.
It's so cool.
I miss you, baby. But it's
good
sexy.
Man.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get through. We got a lot of great athletes here. I'm trying to get a bunch of you guys just to get I want all of our listeners to know who's on the world team this year, and it's a lot of awesome personalities.
Yeah, I would have to say this was probably one of my favorite camps.
Me too.
Even though it was like one day, but the personalities in the room and the vibe, it was so cool.
Wasn't it the coolest?
It was.
Yeah, I've been at these camps before, and it just was nothing like this. But it was a lot of positive energy. Everyone's cheering each other on.
Yeah.
There wasn't that like little pocket of people who were like,
I know, but
awesome.
Weightlifting doesn't need to be like that. It's so rad. Like,
Yeah.
you can freaking be happy and joking around and being goofy. And no offense, but a little bit of laughter ain't going to ruin your energy for the max
totally
lift.
agree,
like,
man.
it's not going to ruin your energy.
Yeah. And everyone's cheering each other on. And even if like someone's in your same weight class and they lift more, I mean, you can cheer that person on. Deep down, you got to be like, well, now I got to go beat them.
Right.
Like, we're Team USA. Our whole goal is to show the world that we're as good as they are, and that's the whole point. So,
yeah. I mean, we're a team.
We are a team.
So that's it.
Where can people find out more about you?
I actually built my own website. It's alyssaricchie.com. And you can also find me on Instagram, which is Alyssa Richie 1, the number 1, and Facebook and all that other good stuff.
What do you have on your website?
Oh, I have programming. I do programming for one-on-one athletes, gymnastics programming, weightlifting programming. I actually just started vlogging too, which I'm really pumped about.
I bet it's good.
It's good. It's fun. You know what? It's probably my favorite one is this weekend because people participated so much and it was so much fun.
I saw you doing some funny stuff. It was good.
Yeah. So the vlogging's fun. It's on YouTube. It's Alyssa Richie as well. But
that's unique.
Yeah. Shut up. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, Biddy Strong is another thing. If you look that up, you can find me there.
Biddy Strong?
Biddy Strong.
I like that.
Yeah.
Alyssa Biddy Strong.
Biddy Strong. Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much to Brian and Alyssa for being on with us again. Head on over to mashelite.com to check out all that we've got for you there, from free podcasts and articles to our ebooks and coaching. That's all over for you at mashelite.com. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, now do me a favor. Go subscribe to our channel, like our videos, comment. I promise you if you comment, I'll get back to you and answer all your questions. Thanks for watching.